In a world where legends slowly fade and new stars rise from unexpected places, one boxing match brought two eras into a collision course. Mike Tyson, once the most feared man in boxing, stepped back into the spotlight, but not against an old rival or another legend. Instead, he stood across from Jake Paul, a man born not in the ring, but on YouTube. Nobody could have predicted this. Yet here it was. The baddest man on the planet was going to fight an internet kid who once made prank videos and vlogs. It all started with a rumor in early 2024. Some dismissed it as clickbait. Others hoped it wasn't real. But it didn't take long before the news became official. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, live on Netflix. This wasn't just a boxing match. This was a cultural moment. Mike Tyson, at 58 years old, had nothing to prove. He had conquered the sport decades ago, became the youngest heavyweight champion in history, and lived a life full of glory, chaos, and redemption. After a string of troubles, prison time, comeback attempts, and even a wildly successful marijuana business, Tyson had evolved into a wiser version of himself. Jake Paul, on the other hand, had everything to prove. He was 27, full of confidence, money, and a desire to be taken seriously in the fight world. While some laughed when he first entered the ring, his record told a different story. 10 wins, 1 loss, and knockouts over former MMA champions. Whether people liked him or not, he was bringing attention and dollars back to boxing. Before we dive deeper, don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoy stories that mix legacy with controversy. And make sure to subscribe for more compelling stories just like this one. The announcement shook the internet. Tyson and Paul would face off in a sanctioned boxing match at AT&T Stadium in Texas. Netflix would stream it live to millions, making it the first-ever globally televised bout on the platform. The hype was off the charts. Critics cried foul. Fans were divided. Was it disrespectful to the sport? Or was it exactly what boxing needed? The tension kept building. In the months before the fight, Jake Paul did what he does best: talk. He mocked Tyson's age, questioned his health, and promised a knockout. Tyson, ever the stoic figure in his older years, responded with a chilling calmness, saying, "This is war. All is fair in war." Then came the press conferences. It wasn't long before the playful jabs turned into real tension. During the final weigh-in, Tyson, looking lean but older, snapped. He slapped Paul across the chest, triggering a near brawl on stage. That clip alone racked up over 100 million views in 24 hours. But while fans were entertained, Tyson's team grew concerned. Just months before the fight, the former champ had a serious ulcer flare-up while flying. Paramedics rushed to his aid. Questions swirled. Was he healthy enough to fight? Was it even ethical to let him? Still, Tyson pushed forward. The fight was scheduled for 8 rounds, 2 minutes each, no headgear, larger gloves to reduce impact, but the risk was still there. Tyson was nearly 60. Paul was in his athletic prime. The Nevada State Athletic Commission hesitated to sanction the fight, but it eventually got approval with strict medical oversight. The night of the fight arrived. AT&T Stadium was packed. Over 72,000 fans filled the stands, and millions watched online. Celebrities, influencers, athletes, and politicians were all in attendance. For one night, boxing was once again the center of the world. The bell rang. Tyson came out aggressive, reminding everyone of his legendary power. He pushed Paul back with hard hooks and body shots. The crowd roared. But Paul didn't fold. He used his speed, his youth, and his reach to stay mobile, avoid heavy damage, and sneak in jabs. By round 3, Tyson was visibly tired. The years had caught up with him. Paul took advantage, working the jab, targeting the ribs, and frustrating the legend with slick movement. But Tyson was relentless. Even fatigued, he kept marching forward, swinging with the kind of violence that made him famous. Paul took a few hard shots, but he kept his composure. Round 6 was brutal. Tyson landed a thunderous right hook that made the stadium explode. Paul stumbled, but didn't fall. He clinched, survived, and countered late in the round with a crisp uppercut that stunned Tyson. By round 8, both men were exhausted. When the final bell rang, nobody was sure who had won. Fans held their breath. Then came the announcement. Jake Paul, winner by unanimous decision. Boos and cheers filled the air. Tyson nodded in respect. Paul dropped to his knees, overwhelmed. Whether people believed he deserved it or not, Jake Paul had beaten a living legend in the ring. But this story doesn't end in the ring. The aftermath was just as chaotic. Mike Tyson, ever honest, admitted the fight had taken a toll. He felt drained, had memory lapses, and struggled to recover in the days following the match. Still, he smiled when asked about it. He said, "I'm just happy I made it through." Jake Paul celebrated with champagne and headlines. Critics still called him a gimmick. But one thing was undeniable. He had done something historic. The fight became the most watched live sporting event in Netflix history. Over 108 million people streamed it. It dominated Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram for weeks. Sports pundits debated its meaning. Some called it a mockery, others called it genius. Paul reportedly earned $40 million from the bout. Tyson made $20 million. Merch sales, sponsors, and licensing deals pushed the event's revenue into the hundreds of millions. And perhaps most importantly, a new generation of fans was introduced to Mike Tyson. Teenagers who knew him only as a meme or a podcast host now saw the fire that once ruled boxing. Paul gained what he craved most: validation. The boxing community still debates his place in the sport, but no one can deny that he brings attention, viewers, and cash. Tyson, for his part, said he was done with fighting. He had proven to himself and the world that he could still go the distance. He returned to his ranch, spent time with family, and reflected on a career that spanned generations. Jake Paul, meanwhile, teased more fights. Names like KSI, Nate Diaz, and even Conor McGregor surfaced. He also hinted at launching his own fight league, a mix of entertainment and real combat sports. The Tyson vs. Paul fight marked a shift, not just in boxing, but in how sports and entertainment intersect. It blurred lines. It raised eyebrows. It made millions talk, and it will be remembered for years. If you've made it this far, thank you for sticking with the story. This fight was more than just punches. It was about legacy, ego, money, health, risk, and the ever-changing nature of fame. If you enjoyed this deep dive, do us a favor. Like the video, share it with someone who loves combat sports, and subscribe to the channel for more stories that explore the untold sides of today Kirkgingchu's biggest moments. Let us know in the comments. Was this fight good for boxing or bad for the sport? Did Jake Paul earn his win, or was it just clever marketing? And should Mike Tyson have ever stepped back into the ring? We read every comment, and we're always looking for great suggestions for our next video. Thanks for watching, and remember, the fight never ends. It just moves to a new round.